Hello, I'm Jin Kyu, and I studied and wrote my paper about online actions and concerted activities. During the pandemic, companies and employees shifted to virtual tools and platforms to conduct business and communicate with members. With this transition into the virtual office space and increased screen time, online posts, including social media posts, e-petitions, and virtual expressions have replaced person-to-person chats around the water cooler. In this virtual space, employees often use not only text methods but also non-text methods such as memes, GIFs, and other things. Um, in this presentation, I'd like to talk about social media posts, e-petitions, and protected constructive activity under Section 7 of the NLRA, and I will analyze the impact of online acts on overall worker organizing, focusing on some examples of worker organizing platforms. Okay, now let's start from the concept of protected concerted activities. Enacted in 1935, the National Labor Relations Act offers broad protection to workers engaged in collective action to improve their wages and working conditions. Section 7 of the NLRA stipulates right of employees, including concerted activity, which must be both concerted and for the purpose of mutual aid or protection. The scope of what constitutes protected concerted activity is quite broad, and it may include activities not only inside but also outside of the workplace. The General Council of the National Labor Relations Board released three memos in 2011 and 2012 detailing the results of investigations in dozens of social media cases. The NLRB had previously signaled an intention to expand the types of employee conduct that might qualify as concerted activity. And a recent advice memorandum from the General Counsel's Division of Advice in 2021 doubles down on that approach. The subject of the advice memorandum is John Quick surgery. In the John Quick memo, the National Labor Relations Board found that the Facebook post was protected as a protected concerted activity. Specifically, the memo notes that the post was made to initiate, induce, or prepare for group action over the quality of employee supervision and employee attrition, affecting all employees. In reaching this conclusion, the NLRB relied on the first coworker's command and the second coworker's mouthless emoticon was a supportive emoticon. Even though the advice memo by General Counsel of NLRB doesn't establish binding precedent, the memo still provides meaningful insight to how the NLRB may interpret non-text responses as supportive messages and to the position the NLRB may take in future concerted activity cases which involve happening on social media or a virtual space. Now, let's move on to e-petition and concerted activity. In the recent labor movement in the United States, unlike before, a new movement is appearing in which information and communication technology operates as the main means and core. Here, I'd like to pay attention to e-petition among these new movements. This refers to a method of seeking changes and improvement of working conditions in the form of petitions rather than through unions, but expanding it to an online public forum to mobilize more popular and widespread support. Among the various online petition websites, coworkers.org stands out. As their website describes, coworkers are platforms that help workers understand their rights, standing in solidarity with other colleagues, and basically promote online petitions for changes in the workplace. And here we should think about concerted activity. There has been controversy over whether the online petitions fall under workers' rights, including the right to self-organization and collective bargaining, protected by Article 7 of the NLRA. Of course, the act of petition itself has long been established as one of the foundations of American democracy, and workers have also used petitions as political tools to improve wages and working conditions for a long time. However, in the case of online petitions, it is accompanied by online communication through social media and may be controversial whether this process is traditionally a concerted activity protected by the law. In response, NLRB has consistently stated that the act of reporting complaints and grievance at work is a right protected by Article 7 of the NLRA, and it is irrelevant whether online or offline. However, it cannot be protected if it contains an act or an inappropriate message to intentionally damage the employer's reputation. Now I'd like to move on to the impact of these online worker actions on overall worker organizing. As discussed so far, the importance of online actions is growing as a way to express employees' thoughts. This movement has important meaning in two aspects. First, it is a model of representation in which ordinary workers, not union leaders and organizers, play a central role. Second, the current labor force is undergoing a generational shift to a millennial generation, and these people have relatively high digital literacy compared to the old generation. Therefore, these alternative labor movement models actively utilizing information and communication technology are highly likely to constitute an important axis of labor management relations in the future. Recently, in the labor movement in the United States, unlike before, a new movement in which information and communication technology operates as a major means and core is appearing. A typical example is an organizing platform that doesn't involve a union. In short, it means an online platform that allows workers to establish unions without the direct support of union organizers. Currently, there seems various digital platforms that support union organizing, such as Frank and Unite Online in the United States, and the most represented platform is Unit. Now, in regard to evaluation of the recent organizing platform, workers are favorable to the fact that they have more opportunities to increase their voice as they have easier access to various strategic resources needed to establish a union. And the existing union also seem to fundamentally agree on this. However, the unions maintain that the role of existing unions does not simply stop at the organizing stage. For example, it is critical for unions to have successful first collective bargaining with management after union establishment, and questions remain as to whether organizing platforms can fulfill this role as well as traditional unions. Moreover, in the aspect that the organizing platform is also a type of venture business in Silicon Valley, there's still distrust about how long it will be able to stand on the side of workers in the long term. Yeah, these are all for today's presentation. Thank you for listening.